Hi, I'm Steven Sklar, and for the first time, Coach's Corner is going to be videotaped, so my face made for radio will be plastered on the Cider Press website. I'm here with head coach Glenn. How are you today, Coach?
I'm doing great, Steve.
Now, it hurts to say it, but on Sunday, Oceanside fell to Lindenhurst in the Long Island Championship 40-23, and I'm here to ask the question on everybody's mind, and what happened with the ball?
Um, they were not using a legal ball, state sanctioned ball for their kickoffs. Right, so obviously I raised that to the officials, and the Section 8 and Section 11 coordinators tried to get to the bottom of it as best they could. They deemed that it was illegal, and they could not use it for the rest of the game.
Do you think that the fact that they were using this illegal ball had any play in the final score of the game?
No, not at all. The 6'5", 230-pound monster from going to Ohio State, he had a lot to do with that.
Well, about Jeremy Ruckert, he went for 128 all-purpose yards, something you guys have valued the entire season. Is your ability to pressure the quarterback with your defensive front. But the quarterback, Nick Alzone, was given just a little bit too much time in the pocket, allowing him to make the good throws he needed. Was that just a shaky defense, or was it good football?
Well, the other team, they prepare too, and they play as well. We're both 11-0 teams. They're there for a reason. And they had a great game plan where they did some good stuff for us to, try to stifle, our defensive front and, getting to the quarterback. And they threw some balls up in the air where, you had a good kid make some great plays, and, that's what led them to their victory.
Third down conversions, Lindenhurst had a very high percentage in third down conversions, especially on third and longs. What was your game plan going into third and longs that just didn't seem to work for the entire game?
The game plan really didn't change. It was just they made more plays than we did, those are two evenly matched teams, and when it comes down to third downs, is who's able to execute, and we didn't execute on some of those third downs on either side of the ball, and that's why they had drives that continued, and we couldn't get off the field when needed.
Now, a lot of problem people had with the games was the way the refs called the game. Lindenhurst didn't have a single holding call against them. I've never watched a football game where a team had zero holding calls against them. Do you think that the referee's game call had any effect on the game?
Well, first off, I think it always comes down to the players. We didn't execute, as a team, to the fullest of our capabilities. Do I believe that there was some home cooking that went on? Quite possibly. And I definitely feel that there were some questionable calls that happened during the game, but that's going to happen in high school sports, in college, and so same thing with NFL and professional sports. So you have to live with it. But I guess those guys tried the hardest they could. Would love for them to do a little better of a job, but at the end of the day, we didn't do what we had to do.
Do you think that if this was a game officiated by Nassau refs, we would be looking at a different outcome?
I don't know if it matters where the refs came from. It doesn't matter where they would come from. Everyone could have bad days, but I just thought it was a little unacceptable by some of the things that went on, during that contest. But it still had nothing to do with, the outcome. We still had opportunity to take care of business that we didn't do.
Now, Justin Zotto, the cornerback who picked off Tommy Hewer, scored the pick six, kind of iced the game for Lindenhurst. Said that his defensive coordinator called out from the sideline, the ball is coming your way. Tommy threw 63 passes. Do you think that your offensive game plan was a little repetitive going down the stretch?
Saying that we completed 43 of those 63 passes for 461 yards, I think our game plan was pretty good, and that was just a miscommunication thing where we tried to check off for a play, and one guy got the message and the other one didn't, and that kid was just in the right place at the right time. He didn't do anything special. We threw the ball right to him, and he made a great play, and he ran the ball 20 yards back into the end zone. I think the offensive scheme was pretty good, and we had plenty of opportunities to score, and we just missed out on some chances.
Now, I know you had the 450-plus passing yards, but the run game was almost absent throughout the entire game. Why did you decide to not really go with any sort of run?
Well, the run game was absolutely absent. We only rushed for about 15 yards, but we felt that our passing game, and we have the best quarterback on the island and probably the best player in Nassau County, so we were going to put the ball in his hands. And our skilled guys, they did what we did the entire year for the most part, and we took what was given to us. And it may not have worked out. It's easy to second guess it now. What would have happened if we ran the ball 60 times? But I'm pretty sure we ran the ball 60 times. That wouldn't have changed that situation. We may have had more holding calls or other things of that nature. So I don't second guess the game planning at all.
Going into the game 11-0 Nassau County Championships, you happen to end the season on a Long Island Championship loss. Does it kind of, well, obviously it hurts to lose, but does it kind of leave a bad mark on the season as a whole?
Not at all. I think the kind of weird thing is I had to pay for breakfast for the first time this morning. So, that was kind of down. I got free breakfast the first 11 weeks. So maybe we should start winning a little more next year. But no, it was a great year. Kids have played awesome. Our goal was to win a county championship. And get, first one in 40 years, and to get to Long Island Championship and play there had a great atmosphere. Our fans and community traveled well. There's no regrets and no second guessing about anything that we did. And just hats off to Lindenhurst and just hats off to these kids for a great year. Hats off to the student body for being around and doing a great job all season. And it was something that was great for Oceanside.
And none of my questions are to diminish the season you had. Congratulations on an excellent season. Nassau County Championships, accomplishing your goal. But looking into next year, a lot of your top players are seniors. They're not going to be here next year. What players did you see a lot out of, and what players do you think are going to be the leaders of this team next year?
Well, we got a good number of juniors coming back. Josh Tiernan, Jake Lazaro, John Natoli, Ed Manoni, Chris Cassio, Dan Cassio. I'm sure I'm going to forget a couple. Elijah James, I'm sure I'm going to forget a couple others. But we have some good kids coming back and some good kids coming up, and we'll have to figure out to find out fill up some holes. We got to fill a quarterback position. That's going to be pretty important here, and fill up some positions up front, up on the line. But I think we'll be okay. We'll definitely take a couple of lumps next year. But I think these guys they're going to get back in the weight room next Monday and get back to work.
Who is the leading candidate as of now to fill that quarterback position?
That's a very good question. That's probably a question that a lot of people want to know. We didn't have a backup. Halfway through the year this year, that person removed himself from the team. We have a sophomore in the program right now, and then we have a couple of young eighth graders that are coming up. So it'll be an open competition. We're going to figure out who's the best player to help us move forward for the next couple of years.
Now, if I'm correct, that sophomore is Nikki Pladia, right?
Nikki Pladia was one of them. Tyler Pierce is another one as well, and then we have three eighth graders that are coming up. So we'll take a look at everyone and evaluate and go from there.
Now, you mentioned the sophomores. Casey Carlson we found him in a featured role as the season progressed. You called up a bunch of players like Joe Idell, Danny Mullen, Thomas Flavin, the freshman. What role are they going to play on the team next year?
I hope very big roles. They should all find their way starting or contributing at some point, throughout the season. And I think we have a very good group of sophomores coming up and a couple of freshmen that are coming up as well. And this is going to fill some big holes. And we're going to be young early in the season, so people got to be patient. We may not come out and win every game 45-0 again this year, but next year. But I think as we grow through the season, we'll be an okay team moving forward.
Now, obviously, your biggest accomplishment of the season was Nassau County Championship, becoming Nassau County champions. Aside from that, what was the biggest takeaway, the biggest accomplishment from the season?
Biggest accomplishment. Besides going undefeated and winning I think the big thing for us would be winning at home. We talk about Defend the Nation. I love playing at home in front of our crowd and everything. And whenever we win at home, it's fun. To go to the playoffs, to beat Baldwin twice, to beat Freeport twice, to beat Farmerdale twice. That's pretty special. So I really appreciate the run that we went through, and and being at home and playing at home.
And you mentioned Jake Lazaro before. He will be returning next year. He found himself in a wide receiver 1 spot this year. What type of influence do you think he'll have on the younger kids coming up into the program?
Jake's he's going to have a huge influence. He's already our all-time leading receiver. In this program as a junior with a year left, and for someone who has been through it and done it 2 years in a row, he's going to be very big in trying to develop those guys, and he'll have a big brother to look up to, and he's going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And he's the best in the game, so we're glad to have him back.
Now, Tommy Hewer set plenty of school records. I'm not sure where he is in the county and Long Island records, but you've been working with him for a long time. You worked with his brother Tyler when he was the starting quarterback here. What has it been like to see a player grow like you have with Tommy?
A lot of fun. Tommy's like a son, to me, and watching him since he was 9, hanging around here and just developing over the years, to get to the point now where he's someone that is in my opinion, the best football player in Nassau County and the best quarterback in the island. He's the first Nassau County quarterback to throw for 3,000 yards. That's pretty impressive in my eyes. And he's co-leading with touchdowns in the season with 38. So he broke just about a good number of Nassau County passing records. He owns every school passing record, and he's just a great captain. He's a great leader, and he's the first quarterback that's been through here to take a school to a county championship in 40 years in football. So something hats off to him, and hats off to the supporting cast.
How long is it going to take for someone to break any of those records?
It'll probably take a couple of years. It's definitely gonna take a 2 or 3 year span. But he had a tremendous year, this year. But records are always meant to be broken, and there'll be someone else down the road, and whoever that may be. But that doesn't take away from anything that he did in this year.
Where do you see next year's team at this point of the year?
In a perfect world, we'd be having the same conversation again next year because the season would just be ending. All right, but I think that just looking at it going into it, some of our goals, definitely you have to be realistic with your goals, and we have to set new goals. But we definitely want to be a team that gets back to Hofstra to the semifinals and compete for a championship game again. I think that's the bar. That's the standard here at Oceanside now is championship games or bust. We know that we're going to have some young kids, and we're going to have to tweak some of our goals. But we'll be excited to get right back after it, and we'll evaluate after we get through our summer camp, and we'll go from there.
And like I said before, congratulations on an amazing season. I know it was fun for all the fans to watch this team throughout the year. I'm sure it was fun for the players and for the coaching staff as well. Thank you to Miss Miller and everyone else who helped set up this amazing set. I'm Steven Sklar, Coach Blount, Final Coach's Corner. Thank you.